Deadlife. This is a zombie story, so you pretty much already know how it's going to go. A group of survivors has a safe area. That area comes under attack, they journey out for supplies, and hell, people will die along the way. That's part of just a zombie story. Anytime you interact with a work of fiction and zombies are involved, you can kind of count on those things happening. And this is even the first zombie story I've reviewed on my channel. I previously reviewed Apocalypse No Tauride, and I really enjoyed that story, even though it followed those classic tropes. The characters shone through and made the story quite interesting. Deadlife is something that had me quite enraptured when I first started reading chapter 1, and I just read it all in one sitting. All of season 1, which is quite lengthy time-wise. But along the way, the story just wasn't for me. This won't be a spoiler-free review because I need to discuss some of the things that made it so this story fell short for me. And without further ado, let's jump into the beginning chapters and talk about how this story is set up. So if you've already read Deadlife, I'm going to remind you what happens in around the first chapter and how the status quo is set up. And if you haven't, I'm going to explain how we get to pretty much the starting point of the story. Now, we begin with a character scavenging for supplies. Think A Quiet Place. This is a classic post-apocalypse beginning of a story. And the zombies are ignoring him because of his suit that protects him from leaking his smell. And that's kind of how they react to him. And this guy looks down at the zombies. But while he's out scavenging for supplies, there's a sentient zombies that see him. The main antagonist of the story, we're going to call him the Boker. That's kind of how he's referred to for the majority of the story. He does kind of have a name later on, but let's leave that for later. And the setting where the base, the home base where everyone comes back to at the end of the day is a school because it's fenced in, it's easy to defend. And within there, we've got a teacher telling students how to defend themselves from a zombie. And we even see that there's quite a few students in the classroom. There's more. It's about a class of 20, I'd say. It's kind of hard to remember all the characters because, of course, it's a zombie story. They die off and they split up into groups. It gets a little confusing. And then we have our main character, Sung. And we have the love interest, Yuna. And you can see he's really into her because even in his mind, he's like, oh, Yuna, she's here. And he's going up to relieve her of her watching duty. And they have a little discussion. Are they just as human as us? And then our main character, Sung, says, no. I don't think I'll ever believe them to be people. They're dead in the eyes of everyone. They're zombies. We also see the dynamic between the teachers. One is kind of a hard ass, and he looks down on the teacher that doesn't go out and scavenge for supplies. Brave, but he can be quite mean about his actions, and the other is a bit of a coward, but he wants to do good. And then our main character, Sung, he has asthma. Happens a lot in post-apocalyptic things. There's always something wrong with a kid that needs something. The other teacher gives him some steroids. Like, hey, this will help you. Yada, yada, yada. Some things happen. The school is attacked by the Boker. For some reason, our main character, Sung, decides to sacrifice himself trying to save Yuna. She's been injured. He takes her to a classroom. But while his back is turned, Yuna turns into a zombie and bites him. That's a classic trope. And so this is the setup we have. The survivors are stuck on the second floor of the school, and then on the first floor, they're the students that have become zombies. That is how Deadlife begins, and that's pretty much where anything could happen from this point on. So now that you have that status quo that is set, let's talk about what happened. To our main character. So Sung, when he becomes a zombie, because of the steroids he took that the health teacher gave him, he has a reaction with the virus and he is now a conscious zombie like the Boker. He can move of his own free will. He still has the bloodlust when he smells humans, but he finds a way around that. Because of this advantage he's given, he starts learning about himself and he's trying to teach the other zombified students to become like him, to regain their consciousness, to get their free will, to talk again. Next up, we have Yuna. She is one of the students of Sung who is trying to regain her consciousness. And while the other zombified students gain back some motor skills, can think, have free will, Yuna is never able to talk for a majority of the webtoon. And she's the love interest, so it's like, I'm pretty sure the author just didn't know how to write a love story between the two, and so he just made Yuna not be able to talk. I have no clue why that's a quirk of hers, and when she finally can talk, she like basically confesses her love for the main character. It's just like, it's very strange. Next up, we have the teachers. We have the health teacher, and then we have the cowardly teacher. So you kind of already know what the health teacher's like. He's ex-military. He knows his way around with a gun, and if you aren't one of the people he's protecting, he doesn't care about you. If you leave his protection, he's like, whatever, I don't care. Now, the other teacher is much different. He is cowardly, he's scared to go out, and he truly cares about all of his students and protecting them. But here's the thing. Everyone that comes underneath the cowardly teacher as one of his followers, pretty much going out into the apocalypse, dies. That is a integral part of his character. He tries and he tries again to protect people, and they just die underneath him. And finally, we have the antagonist, the Boker. This character, honestly, isn't that interesting of an antagonist. He has a cult of worshippers that help him infect people. You kind of already know the gist of him just from that one statement. I mean, he's not that interesting. The final fight with him isn't even that cool. But the thing that really turned me off from this webtoon is the ending. And that's because, as I said, I've said this before in my last review of Apocalypse No Tauride. Zombie stories have two directions. One, they find a cure and they try to rebuild the world into something better than it was before the apocalypse. Or two, all of humanity dies. This story, of course, they're trying to find a cure, and during that time, all of humanity is wiped out. But because they're conscious zombies, they do develop a cure that allows other zombies to get their consciousness back. So in a way, they've created a new race, and they call this race the New Humans. And once they start building society up, our main character, Sung, gives a monologue pretty much directly towards the audience, talking about how the world's better. And to understand why I dislike this ending and why it made the previous 70-ish chapters bad, I'm just going to read a shortened version of the monologue. Until now, humans were the rulers of the world. Then they turned into something else, completely different from the traits of humans before because of an unknown virus. That something else was coined the term zombies. At least that was the human point of view. All the humans turned into zombies, and with that, it was the end of mankind. But that extinction immediately brought with it a new species. Ourselves, we are the New Humans. Although we aren't the same as humans, our physical recovery ability is increased. With humans extinct, no one acts aggressively or attacks one another. With humans gone, the world feels brighter. Our characters differ because we, New Humans, are more logical and don't hesitate due to feelings. No jealousy or envy. We can concentrate for longer, no need to sleep, and almost never eat. So we can work more. We aren't bored with one kind of work and do it continuously. Because of this, we are incredibly productive. We judge everything with detail and without prejudice. So that's kind of how season 1 ends of Deadlife. From this monologue, we can see the author's viewpoint and exactly what he was thinking when he had the characters go throughout the events of season 1. All those deaths, all those times there was infighting between groups, anytime someone hesitated and because of that someone died, it was because they were human. They were flawed inherently and therefore could not succeed. That is a very pessimistic viewpoint on human nature. Now, me personally, I know it's a bit of a meme, like the indomitable human spirit, but I truly believe in post-apocalyptic stories, those small moments where you see people act not out of their own self-worth. They're not trying to keep themselves alive. They are completely an act of pure selflessness, giving someone some food that they may need, but hey, another survivor, I can't just let you die. Or they offer medicine, any kind of help that is given out. It's like, those moments are so sweet. And to see that, hey, these people aren't worth saving is pretty much what the author's saying because of their prejudice, their aggression to others of their own kind, the fact that they can't work long hours. That's weird he throws that in there because the two kind of go together, like, oh, humans are aggressive, illogical, and they have prejudice against other humans that make no sense, that are irrational. But to throw in the fact that they can also work long hours is very strange. I want to tackle the longer hours part a little longer too, because he frames this society as a utopia, that it's a world peace, there's no world hunger, everything. Literally every aspect of society is better now that humanity's dead and the new humans are here. If you have a utopia where there's no world hunger, there is world peace, the fact that you are working longer hours and can work throughout the night is not a positive. If anything, that is an incredible detriment to your society. You're telling me we have world peace, world hunger has been ended, and there's pretty much not a need for money, but for some reason, everyone's working through the night because they can now? How is that not more time for leisure, more time to explore other aspects of human life? Very weird that he focuses on that. I've covered that part. I really wanted to talk about that because it's a weird section of the monologue. But back to the whole humans were bad thing. Because the author thought that, the human characters throughout the webtoon have no room for growth because they are purely devices to show the flaws in human nature. And because of that, the story falls flat without strong characters to help drive it. Because it's pretty much just the main character that's given free will, because everyone else just follows his orders. They're part of his group. You know how zombie stories are. There's always a head macho, but there's not really any strong personalities that help act as a foil to our main character besides the antagonist, who is the exact same being as our main character, but simply wants to turn people into zombies because they'll go to heaven. It's better. It's not really a good reason. He's just violent. Our main character doesn't want to turn people into zombies, but once everyone's a zombie, he's like, you know what? It's actually better this way. So usually when you have a protagonist, the antagonist acts as a foil to show the protagonist's better aspects. But in the end, both of the characters, both of the enemy and the hero have the same goal in the end, that everyone's a zombie so it's better. And it's just, that's not how stories work. That shouldn't be the ending. It really frustrated me. But I'm getting a little too animated about this. I need to relax. But if I had to give this webtoon a rating, the early parts, first half of the story, is pretty good. But once you start seeing more characters and seeing them interact, it really falls apart. Like the first part of the story is like an 8 out of 10, and I was very excited to see where it goes. The latter half is about a 4 out of 10. The new characters they introduce aren't that interesting and are pretty much just plot devices. And I didn't mention this until now, but I said season 1. There's a season 2 that's going on, but season 1 has a pretty concrete start and finish. It doesn't feel like you need to extend the life of this webtoon more. I understand that a lot of these newer webtoons, mangas, light novels, sometimes they just keep going because, hey, it's still making money and the author needs to eat. So I'm not going to hate the hustle, but in my eyes, season 1's over, the story's over. And the problem with this is it's going to be like maybe 1 or 2 years before we see if the story even pans out or if it gets axed by the author because he loses support. I hope not, but I'd love to see how this actually ends, but hey, who knows? There might even be a season 3, so it might be even 4 years till we see an actual ending. What? I gave it like an 8 in the beginning and a 4 now, so you can even out like a 6 out of 10. But hey, I'm just another reader. Thank you for watching. Okay, now we're in like the end part of the video, so I want to say I really like that intro. What did you guys think about that intro? If you made it to this part, I was very proud of that intro. Originally, I was just going to have the final level I selected be the video, but I'm like, wait, what if I just made it my old videos? I thought that was really clever. I don't know. I'm patting myself on the back. I know. Let me do it. But I haven't uploaded in a while. My last upload was the Spider-Man video, and that was just me testing out some new stuff. But and I also really like the Spider-Man movie. But this part's not gonna be that edited, so who cares? I can say whatever I want. But I'm gonna be trying to upload more. I graduated college in the past 2 months. I got a office job where I'm making some pretty good money. So if this channel ever becomes not even profitable, but just starts making money, I'll probably just give it to charity because I don't fucking need the money. But hey, yeah, thanks for watching. I should say like and subscribe at some point in the video. I'll put it up somewhere. All right.